Hey everybody, welcome back to Bayou Breakdown. We're joined as always by Jack Tiernan. Jack, how you doing on this Victory Tuesday?
Victory Tuesday, Brian. I'm doing all right. There's still existential Saints fan dread. But all things considered, we beat the Rams 20-27. With the ghost of Matthew Stafford getting not pulled, but getting injured. Definitely could be worse. Definitely could be worse. But all's well right now in Saints land.
Yeah, so what stood out to you most about this victory? Where did it really all come together for the Saints? Obviously, other than Matt Stafford getting another concussion, I'm getting a little worried for him because
Me
that's
too.
like two or three this year, right? So that's never good. But yeah, what was the difference in this game that led to the Saints getting a win for the first time? I feel like in a little while. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Definitely. No, it's been a bit. I think the last one may have been against the Raiders when we blew them out. So yeah, I mean, we the ghost of Matthew Stafford. This is probably the worst defending Super Bowl champion team at least in my memory. I don't know if that differs for anyone else. For you, for me, I'm like, yeah, I don't know if there's anybody that's come back and been this much worse than last season. Um, you can blame it on Matt Stafford's elbow, the amount of concussions he's gotten, which is unfortunate, honestly, very much like Tides of Tua, which is not great. Um, but I think, yeah, I mean, the Rams just aren't a really great team. Their age is showing. They went all in to win last year. Obviously, they don't have Cooper Kupp as well, so that's a huge factor. He's just a machine for yards after the catch. Um, I think, ultimately, good job by us. Nice to have Juice back. The biggest play of the game probably was that Andy Dalton touchdown to not Jarvis Landry, to Chris Olave, 54-yarder. I mean, Olave has just been elite this year. Definitely offensive rookie of the year candidate, if not running away with it at this point. Um, but that's what it came down to. Our defense looked a little bit more poised. I think we kind of gave up some garbage time points. We let Allen Robinson catch a touchdown, who's basically filling in for that Robert Woods role last year. Now obviously stepping up without Cooper Kupp. Um, Still hate Dennis Allen, and to be honest with you, even though Andy Dalton did well, I still want Jameis in there. And he had some comments we can touch on a little bit later too. But I think overall, yeah, I think this was probably the best we've looked in at least recent memory, probably other than again the Raiders. But I don't know if that's more of the Raiders look terrible than we look good.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the Raiders won this week over the
They did.
Broncos, so like maybe they'll turn it around, maybe not. We'll see.
We
They're
will see.
probably my biggest disappointment of the year because I in the preview for like the AFC West, I went out on a limb and I picked the Raiders to win,
Oof.
and at least I'm pretty sure I did. I at least have them in the playoffs, so not looking smart for me at all. But yeah, this was great. Like you said, Chris Olave, what a stud.
Man, he's great.
Obviously, you guys traded first round pick next year to move up this year and grab him. I think he's going to be like a great contributor for years to come. So at least you can be like, well, we have at least one or two pieces on this offense, Alvin Kamara being the other one that you can like build around. But yeah, Andy Dalton, amazing day. Best day
Yeah.
of the season by far, 21 of 25, 260 yards, those three touchdowns. Amazing. So, like you alluded to, there is a little bit of controversy, and it's somewhat self made by players on the Saints when it comes to the quarterback position. Andy Dalton has not been getting it done this year. I don't think that's an
Mm-mm.
unfair statement, right?
No, I completely agree. Again, like you said, probably the best day of the season last
Oh, yeah.
couple days ago.
Probably the best game he's had in 3 or
Couple
4
years.
years. Yeah,
Yeah.
in the NFL here. So obviously great for him. But yeah, we talk about James Winston a lot. I mean, we both want James Winston to play and like succeed, and we want to see him continue to play like improve after last year. But he's not been playing, and he voiced that he's frustrated because he lost his job due to injury. What are your thoughts on that whole saga?
So, I mean, I root for Jameis. I do. Especially as, former number one overall pick, divisional rival for a little bit, um, before he ended up, changing sides here. I think, you know, I don't know how I feel about those comments. I'm honestly torn because I think he does have a point, right? I think if he's hurt, put him on IR, let him miss some time. Um, let him recover rather than have him practice every week, take some snaps, like let the dude heal up if he's actually hurt. If he's not hurt, don't make excuses for him and just say we're starting Andy because Andy's a better quarterback, which I think, a couple weeks ago, maybe Dennis Allen finally leaned into that a little bit. But I mean, overall, to be honest with you, yeah, Andy has not been getting it done. This last weekend was the first time I saw Andy Dalton look like an actual good quarterback. And maybe that's just familiarity with the offense. Maybe that's, I don't know, getting comfortable in this scheme. But I mean, Jameis has that explosiveness that Andy definitely does not have. I mean, I say that after he tosses that 54-yard absolute bomb to Olave, but I mean, Jameis,
I
that's what
think,
he was
in
known for.
fairness, that was Olave just beating the shit out of
Oh,
Jalen
for sure.
Ramsey off the
Oh my
line, just
God.
toasted him. So I
Absolutely.
think I think a lot of, I don't want to say every quarterback, but a lot of quarterbacks would have hit
Most,
Olave on that pass. So
for sure. Most NFL caliber quarterbacks should have hit Olave on that pass for 100%. Um, and you're right. And like that, if Jameis misses on that, like I'd be pissed, right? Like just straight up very upset. And if Andy missed on that, I'd be calling for his head, right? And this probably would have been a lot closer of a game. Actually, if that didn't count, it could have been, I don't know what would happen on that drive, but it would have been tied in the fourth. Like I don't know, man. So, yeah, when your receiver takes advantage of a D back like that, you've got to also capitalize. Um, and Andy did that, which I think that one of the bright spots, of course, of his game. But I mean, back to Jameis, man. I think he's got that explosivity that explosivity, is that a word? Explosiveness, right? That Andy does not necessarily. And that's why I'd like to see Jameis back. I'd like to see him finish out the year. I think we kind of bet on him. Granted, we bet on a lot of dudes and just paid them up the butt because Sean Payton was like, I don't really care. Like, I'm out of here. Um, so I don't know, man. I would like to see Jameis finish out the year because Andy Dalton definitely is not the solution. I don't know if Jameis is either, but at least let's see what we have in him.
yeah, no, I think you gotta at least try. And like, obviously the playoffs aren't completely out of.
Somehow,
I mean, they're 4-7. The NFC South is pretty
pretty
weak
bad. Pretty
this
bad.
year. Like 7-10 could maybe even get you into the playoffs in this
Like,
division, and
yeah, it's
that
not
would
good.
just be going 3-3 over the
Yeah,
last six for
right.
the Saints.
And
So
that's sad.
yeah, they're not dead, and I guess Dennis Allen thinks Andy Dalton gives the better chance, but
Beats me.
it's also like, okay, if they lose a few more games in a row, do you put James in there just to see, just to know for sure, like whether he could be the guy going forward? I don't know what the right move is there. And I also like wonder if maybe you talked about Sean Payton a little bit. Maybe Jameis was like someone who Sean Payton like felt like, okay,
Yeah.
I can make this guy live up to his potential. I mean, we always joke about Taysom Hill being like his, star favorite player ever, but
Special
we
boy,
didn't.
right?
Yeah, his special boy. We didn't necessarily understand it, but Sean Payton loved Taysom Hill. But I wonder if like Jameis was kind of similar in that, like, okay, this is a guy who's extremely talented. I can, you know, make it work. I'm Sean Payton. I turned Drew Brees into one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time.
Yep.
Um, and maybe Dennis Allen just doesn't feel like he has that same, ability to mold Jameis and maybe taper some of his bad decision making on the
Right.
field.
Yeah.
Whereas like Andy Dalton, he's not gonna lose like the game, from backbreaking interceptions the way Jameis would, but he
Yeah.
at this point in his career, he's probably also not the guy who's gonna go out there and gunsling his way to a big way. If he's ever been that guy, I'm not gonna say I know Cincinnati Bengals football well enough to
Same.
say if he was ever that guy. He had some good years though, for sure. So yeah, it's an interesting dilemma, and I guess we're gonna have to see how it shakes out and how Jameis, coming out in the media talking about it is going to be perceived by the coach and
Right.
what happens there.
I mean, that's a great point. You have to wonder almost if Dennis Allen's gonna do, like, is he gonna reprimand him a little bit? Like, I doubt. this is probably extreme, right? But I could see if Dennis Allen is pissed enough, like he feels he's already lost the locker room, he wants to make his mark. I could see them cutting Jameis. I think that's I know that is a very, very hot take. I doubt that
Mhm.
actually happens, but I definitely could see them doing that to kind of send a message and be like, hey, look, like you gotta buy in, right? Like
Yeah,
this is what we're trying to do here.
or at least like healthy scratch him and just be
Right.
like, well, sorry if you're not here for the team, then
And don't
yeah,
bother. Yeah, right. That's
we got
probably
Taysom
more
Hill
realistic.
to back up, and
Right.
I assume other quarterbacks. Do the Saints have other quarterbacks on the
Uh
roster? I don't know.
he's practice squad guy, but he's not. I mean, he was the
Hmm.
same as Ian Book kind of last year,
Yeah, I
right?
was
Where
gonna
that
ask if
was
Ian Book was still
no,
around, but
Ian's
no,
he's out of
he's
here.
gone.
He's either with Denver or Seattle. I can't remember which, but he's not around
Yeah.
for the best.
Well, I always have that Monday night start where you get thrust into the
That's
starting role with half the team out on COVID.
it.
That was
Literally introducing himself to his receivers that day.
Jesus
So that's
Christ,
cool.
what a
Yeah, that's
mess.
awesome.
Yeah, so we'll see. I was gonna ask. All right, this is not that important to you, and we kind of covered it, but David Johnson, former great running back, now kind of taking the place of oh gosh, he played for the Saints when they were in London, and now he's on the Broncos. What's his name?
Latavius.
Yeah,
Latavius Murray.
Latavius Murray.
Yeah. Big
Even
Latavius
taking
Murray
his
fan.
number. Yeah, even
Yeah, pretty
taking
rude.
Latavius Murray's number. But David Johnson, 1 carry, -4 yards, 1 reception, 11 yards though. So net positive. What did he even blip on the radar for you in this game, or was it just kind of
Uh
like a non-factor at all?
he did because there is that excitement of having a former MVP, right? And you could say the same about Adrian Peterson back a couple of years now, and we had him for like 3 games. But kind of the same feeling for that, honestly. Uh, he was only on the radar because that loss of yardage was like in the red zone. Like I think it was pretty much on the goal line, and then he just like completely butchers whatever carry he had, gets smothered up in the backfield, and I'm like, sick. That was awesome. I like get him out of here. Like I don't want to see him again. I would rather see him get familiar with the offense. I think he could be useful as like a third back, maybe second back, because Ingram has been, no offense to him, he's been either injured or largely ineffective. Um, I don't know how we didn't keep Latavius. I still think about that because he's the lead back on the Denver Broncos right now for sure. They cut Melvin Gordon. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
eh,
they did cut Melvin
yeah, like
Gordon.
maybe we can take Melvin Gordon. Like let's just keep the trend of like bringing
Yeah,
old, washed up
just
running backs in, please. That'd be great.
cycle him in, see
Yeah, that's fine.
who can
See who
actually stay
sticks.
healthy.
Right,
Yeah, hey, Latavius Murray, London's favorite running back. He played there
for real.
twice this year. Insane.
That's right.
Uh,
That's right. That dude is a London monster, apparently.
mhm,
I guess that's how he got his literally got his job back in the NFL. So
mhm.
he was not on a team before that, I don't believe. So good for him, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's
I
a
love Latavius. He was great for us a couple of years back when Alvin was out with lingering injuries here and there.
mm,
So I'm happy for him. But I don't know if David Johnson can fill that role, frankly. I think David Johnson's that ship has kind of sailed.
yeah. I mean, obviously, this David Johnson 1 or 2 year wonder, and then of course part of the infamous DeAndre Hopkins David Johnson trade, which did not
Swap.
work out for the Texans at all, and
No.
really was like the first domino in the
Of
collapse
many.
of the Texans to where they are now. So just wanted to mention that because it's very interesting. But yeah, anything else that we didn't touch on that you wanted to for the Saints?
No, I don't think so, honestly. I mean, I feel like I'm trying to think of who we're playing next week. Saints are playing. Man, I don't even know who. Oh, it's the Niners next week. Okay, that's right. So I mean, for next week, it's
That's
Christian
tough.
McCaffrey.
Yeah.
Jimmy Garoppolo had the game of his life last
Hmm.
night when we
Yeah.
are recording this Monday.
Hey, getting handsomer somehow every
Somehow,
day. Like
he's a silver
uh,
fox soon.
he is
Scary,
now. Yeah, it's
scary
crazy.
stuff.
He's got the
Um,
almost George Clooney going on, and
and then
yeah,
you've got Ginger Andy Dalton, and I don't know, man. I don't think we can hold up to the looks department too. So
it's hard for any QB to live up to the looks
that's
there. So
intimidating. That's intimidating as is, right?
mhm,
That's pretty tough. So Andy's probably gonna be shaking in his boots.
mhm.
Um, I don't know, man. I think that's probably a loss, if I'm being honest. If we can take that win, I'll be thrilled. But
Yeah,
I don't think that's happening.
yeah, we'll see what happens there. But yeah, other than that, Jack, where can they find you online?
Best place to find me is on Twitter, and that's at Jack_Tiernan. Follow me there for NFL takes, NBA takes, and when we get back into it, MLB takes. Also, you can follow my Instagram, which is at Jack Disc Golfs for all disc golf content. I met the former world champion, or not former, actually current world champion, down at my home course here in Florida last weekend. So go follow me there. Yeah, find me there. I'll have plenty of content posted.
Awesome. Yeah, go follow him there. You can follow me on Twitter at @theFakeBMar. That's BMARR. I'm also on Hive now, new social media at Brian Marr. Got secured that, so if it ever takes off, I have the that I wanted. But yeah, other than that, the channel's on Twitter at Wicked Good Sport or WG Everything, Instagram Wicked Good Everything, Twitch at twitch.tv/Wicked Good Everything, and on TikTok search Wicked Good Sports, search Wicked Good Everything. Jack, thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me, Brian.
We'll see you all in the next one.